Hello, I'm Ralph Siviner. It's October 2003. We're in the island of Lanai, Hawaii, and beautiful day. We're here at the Central Station Alarm Association annual meeting. And this is a cooperative effort on behalf of CSAA, Central Station Alarm Association, NBFA, National Burglar and Fire Alarm Association, and SIA, Security Industry Association, through the ERA Foundation. I'm delighted to introduce my partner in this, Charlie Dosh, to my right, and also to introduce Faye Linder, as well as Jerry Linder. Jerry is one of the pioneers of the alarm industry, and I believe Jerry was one of the charter members of the association in California. So Jerry, maybe we could take a few minutes, and I thought I'd start out just by asking you, you go way back, I believe, to 1938, or maybe the mid to late 30s in the alarm industry, and maybe you can tell me how you had the interest of getting involved in alarms.
Well, I was always interested in alarms.
Was this, as I recall, did I hear from someone that said that you were basically chasing fire engines, or at least in the fire side of the business at that time, when you were a youngster?
Yes.
Sparkies, I guess they used to call them, right? Sparkies. They used to chase the fire engines.
Not then. They may have called it not where I live.
Frank Miners has told me a lot of stories about him. When he was about 14 years old, he had a bicycle with a flashlight for a light and a bell or something on it. And he used to chase the fire trucks and would run down and report the fires or the burglaries, whatever. And I think he opened a company, started a company up right after that, shortly after that.
What was the company name, Joe? Do you remember the name of the company?
American Fire Dispatch.
American Fire Dispatch. Did you specialize in fire only, or was it fire and security?
No, fire, security, burglar alarms, all the going things at the time.
And that was in the Los Angeles area?
Yes.
There was another company, was it Pacific Fire? Was that in the San Francisco area?
Yes.
So it was a similar type of products.
Except when you're thinking about it, had a central station, and they monitored a lot of alarms.
Now, in your case, were you monitoring your own alarms, or were these all local systems?
No, we monitor all our own.
When did you start monitoring? Do you remember? Was it after World War II? And do you think it was in the 50s?
I would think so.
1950s. So you remember the old Potter equipment, the direct wire and the McCullough circuit, and I'm sure most of the people listening today they have no clue to what the McCullough is, never mind direct wire.
That's right.
So that even then, again, there were just simple contacts, very few motion detectors, and if there were nothing that we could really say that had a lot of reliability in those days. So basically, were the screens available then?
Screens.
Yeah.
Alarm screens?
Alarm
Oh,
screens. Oh, they were.
So you made your own screens up also.
No, they were made by, start off with one company and then melded into 2 or 3 others who made the alarm screens.
So most of these then were perimeter systems?
I would say so.
When did you start getting involved in motion detection on the security side? And was it radar? Was it microwave? Was it ultrasonic?
It was Kitty's ultrasonic.
Oh, Kitty ultrasonic, the tube operated one. Right.
Yes.
Right. How many do you think you had out there like that?
Quite a few.
Dozens or hundreds?
Hundreds and
Hundreds.
years,
And I'm sure that those had a lot of false alarm issues, didn't they, with telephone bells and the like?
yeah. Well, they had vacuum tubes in the unit. They were subject to false alarm quite a bit.
Because of the tube failure?
No, just the way the whole thing was hooked up.
Environmental.
No, the equipment itself was pretty good. It's just that they were false for various reasons that they shouldn't have. And we had a fellow named can't remember his name. He was making the equipment that he sold. And we would buy the equipment and monitor wherever we put it out there.
So you actually monitored on direct wire and McCullough circuits. It's interesting because we think of monitoring today strictly over digital communicators, but entrepreneurs back then, they monitored direct wire and McCullough.
Were most of these commercial accounts, or were you doing residential, also monitoring residential accounts then, sir?
We monitored everything, but we were primarily commercial and industrial.
Well, is the company still that way? Mostly commercial?
Still around.
Oh, yes, but I mean, is it mostly the systems themselves are basically monitoring commercial, or is there a mix of commercial and residential?
I'm sure there's a mix.
I see.
Jerry, any funny stories to tell about some apprehensions that you may have had over the years, or maybe you can share with us on that?
Oh, there were quite a few of them.
Any thoughts?
You know, the thing is, if any of them were, I'm curious as to whether your company had, were these silent, were most of yours silent alarms that made it, or with, you know, whether it was at a request of the customer or whether it's yours, or were these, or were they anything other than silent alarms in order to make apprehensions, particularly on apprehensions?
Well, there was no requirement for verified alarms then, so you did what you could to make them happy, which wasn't very much because they never were too happy until at the police departments. Fire departments would always take whatever alarm you handed them. And been a lot of changes over the years.
Were any of those direct, did you have direct connects to the fire departments, or were you still bringing them in to?
No, we had some.
Direct connects?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, maybe you can spend a moment. I know that you were instrumental in founding the California Alarm Association. Maybe you can share with us some of the thoughts. What were the original names? Did it start with a band of a couple of people? Who was the first president?
The CAA, I was the first president.
So you were actually a chapter member, a charter member, as well as its first president. Oh, great.
And that, do you recall roughly what year that was when the CAA was formed? In the 50s, 60s?
In there somewhere. In that era.
Uh-huh.
How has the industry progressed or regressed over the past 5 years, 10 years, do you think? Because you've seen a lot of changes, but maybe take us more current. Is it easier? Is it more difficult?
To do what?
To just be in the business
Oh, getting more difficult.
because of regulations or sophistication?
And false alarm issues that
That's
we're all
part of
faced
it.
with?
You go into work every day?
Yes.
Great. That's super. So boy, and if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
Just turned 73.
And you go in every day?
Pretty much so.
Well, that's fantastic. That's great.
And the company name?
The company today is Electro Security Corporation. Started that in 1975, I believe.
And Faye, you go in too, don't you?
I have been since the first of the year.
Do you know the business?
I know nothing about
Nothing about it.
this
Would you like to?
I've learned a lot since January 15th, believe me, a
Yes.
lot.
Well, it's nice that you're always together, and It's nice to have your spouse that's involved, and I know that you come to the association meetings all the time, and the conversation always gravitates to alarms, to security, to business, and even though we're in a beautiful area here, we always talk about it, and our wives were fortunate to allow us to do that. So.
Do you have any, I'm curious about how many alarms, do you have a fair idea of how many alarms you are presently monitoring?
At electrosecurity.
Yes.
Around
2,000, I think.
About 2,000?
We've lost some with this no response.
Mhm.
We lost.
Well, that
a few
is
accounts.
really
And I'm sure it
been a
is.
factor then, hasn't it?
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
we deal primarily with larger commercial accounts.
I see. Oh, so that's really where your forte is then, on
Well,
the larger accounts?
Yeah, then they read some police captain somewhere, very knowledgeable guy,
Mhm.
writes the most horrible article you've ever seen. Shoot alarm people on site, put out a reward for them, all kind of.
It's rather insane.
Mhm.
That's-
Has it gotten better now, do you think? Or is it still negative when it comes to false alarms?
Still very negative.
Do you think we'll ever solve the false alarm problem? Are we doing our part? Is there anything else that we can do?
Well, I've been involved with many, many committees that tried to work on it through the years. And keep running into the same situation. Police mentality is completely different than alarm mentality.
Do you think eventually we could solve it based on a technological solution? Well, first off, do you think the biggest cause of false alarms are the users? Because everyone seems to pen the users. Do you think that's true?
I believe that is pretty true.
And based upon that, do you think that alarms are too difficult to use right now for people?
I wouldn't think so.
So you think that they've made them easier to use?
Yes.
Almost idiot-proof.
Except for me.
Well,
Well, I've been known to trip mine occasionally
I
too.
spit ours
you
off
must
every
have,
time
you
I
must
turn
have the
around.
same problems where some of the, those that are using the alarms, the turnover of the help that might be, or the cleaning crews and the like. Does that, is that one of the factors that has been a problem?
Are you referring to on the?
Well, I'm talking about false alarms. If we're looking at a cause of false alarms and we find that it's an end user caused false alarm, and let's say that we're educating, whether we're giving the kind of education that we should be giving to our subscribers, is the problem, do you think that some of the problems are related to the turnover of help, especially since you are monitoring larger accounts? Could it be that they have turnover of help? Or could it be that they internally are not educating their own people to the proper mode of operation of a system?
I think I can answer by saying I don't go to those meetings anymore.
Oh, I see. Well, anyway, one of the things that at least that's the perception that we get, that they internally, that there isn't enough education among the subscribers themselves.
Well, I hope at 72, I hope I'll be able to go into work every day. So that's great. Boy, you've got a long history. So we're talking 60 plus years then, right? Effectively, that has in one way or another been involved in security or detection. Amazing. Any other thoughts that you may have, Jerry?
Lots and lots and lots and lots.
If someone was getting into the business today, what would you want to tell them? Don't.
Oh, wow.
Now, why is that? Why?
Because the problem is that, it's no longer a simple business. You've got to meet so much criteria. You got, say, police departments that are not going to deal with you. I don't care what your problems are, or who caused them, or why they were caused.
You view that as a negative attitude on the responding authorities then?
Yes.
Is that nationwide or is that just in Southern California?
I think in Southern California, my opinion, and Charlie, you tell me one way or another, I think it's more aggressive in California. I'm not sure why.
I don't either, but I agree.
Would you
I mean,
concur?
whether a lot of it has to do with what Bratton has done as the chief out there, that is not the case?
No, he just.
Well, he hasn't helped it any.
Well, yeah, okay, but that isn't the total answer to the problem.
That's true.
I see.
Technology, do you think the technology has advanced far enough, Jerry, or do you do anything else? For example, other than burglar alarms, do you do access control, cameras? Do you do structured wiring systems?
Yes, and yes.
So you're a fully integrated company. So you stay on top of the technology then.
Absolutely. Police departments don't normally agree with this, so, because they're individuals, they're told to do this, or that. And when they don't, then there's a big clue or a big clash.
Mhm.
You've been involved in associations for many, many years. Obviously, as you told us before, you were the first president of the California Alarm Association, and you've been involved in the CSA.
Wait, let's back up a minute here. The first president was, the association was called the Western Burglar and Fire Alarm Association. And,
And this is CSAA, or
No,
CSEPA?
CSAA was part of it.
It was at NBFA at the time?
No,
Oh, this is prior to, the Westenberg was there prior to that, then, is that it, as an association?
I believe the one association didn't get split, honey, into two different associations. I believe that's what you told me.
yes and no.
You've been coming to CSA meetings, or CSEPA back then, for many, many years too, right?
Yes,
And so, do you remember, gentlemen, the first president of the National Burglar? I believe it was Ben Call,
oh, yes.
and Norm
Austin.
Rubin, and yes, of
Norm.
course. He was a customer of ours, Ben Call. We monitored his alarm after he sold out.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Up in Marblehead, huh?
Up in Swampscott.
Swampscott,
Yeah.
Mass.
Did you go to the first NBFA meeting or second in Swampscott, Mass, the New Ocean House?
No,
You didn't attend that? You attended a lot of the, did you attend a lot of the ISC meetings, the East or West?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, I do recall that prior to moving the any of the expos or exhibits or the ISCs, the conferences we had, before we actually were in Las Vegas, many of them were in Anaheim, and of course we had some right there in Los Angeles, at the, right downtown Los Angeles, as I recall. This
You
was
went to
back,
those,
some
didn't you?
time back.
Yes,
He did attend a lot of, yes.
But, there were some manufacturers, I believe, in California. Wasn't Radionics in California?
basically they were in Carmel, California. I don't know what that means.
Interesting.
And, well, you had some pretty good sized
Good-sized
manufacturers
companies,
up there.
sure.
Yes.
Any final thoughts at all? Because you've seen this industry burgeon into from a little cottage industry to a large conglomerate of companies, and any thoughts on that?
Do you see that the integrity of the industry has been maintained in that period of time? Do you feel that is?
In which way?
Well, in a way that, well, with the changes, suddenly we found that a lot of companies are either being swallowed up by some of the larger companies, or that, I'll give you a good example, where we've made changes in the way we sell products. And when I sell our services, let's talk about selling our services, mass marketing. Do you think that's helped, or do you think it has become a detriment to the industry? Because I don't believe your company was ever involved in mass marketing product, was it?
No.
And again, I would say that though the company, the way that you were selling, particularly where you were selling industrial, commercial, larger accounts, you wouldn't really have to do that anyway. And do you think that that has helped the industry at all by promoting itself only because they were able to buy such simple, inexpensive systems? Do you think that that has been a good idea or a bad idea?
Whole bunch of answers there.
Well, I notice the way that you look at something of that sort and say, well, gee whiz, there are probably two sides to it. I mean, let's face it, there's probably the side that says, yes, it's a positive effect by having mass marketing, and then, again, they may have gone too far in the way that they're trying to promote product and promote that kind of a marketing, way of marketing product.
And we have that right now. Police departments are trying to, in a nice way, explain to us how they would like us to explain our systems work.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Well, but they don't know themselves, that's the problem.
Well, hopefully it's an evolutionary process. Jerry, I want to thank you for coming today, and hopefully we keep you in this industry for a long time to come.
And we'd love to have some of your background pictures and all that
Yes.
so that we can add to this, if we
Yeah,
can do that.
that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thanks.